Well, good morning, if you want to call it a good morning. It's not, things haven't been going very well today. I thought it was going to rain today and actually was going to take off today, but I woke up, ground's dry, it's a little cloudy, but I think it may be supposed to rain tonight. The weatherman can't make up his mind, so got up early. I went and picked up some tomato plants. I picked up some cabbage, some onions and potatoes from one of our little local stores, because we've got a big bulk order of tomatoes to plant, but those plants aren't ready yet. So I thought we'll try out 100 or so plants. It still could frost, kill them, but we're going to go ahead and try that. So anyway, I went to get the plants, come back, I hook up the water wheel to the 6410, and I start moving it back to the garage to fill it up with water and stuff, the water wheel, and then the 6410 decides to spring a leak. So one of the lift cylinders on the 3-point hitch arms is leaking really bad. So I unhooked the 6410 from the water wheel, hooked the 6210 up to the water wheel, and while bringing it back to the garage, well, I'll just show you here in a minute. Well, if you want to know what happens when you try sketchy stuff, this is what happens when you try sketchy stuff. I'll go over the water wheel here once we try to get this back on the tractor, which I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it yet. But on your 3-point hitch arms, you've got a little pin here that you put into this to keep it from sliding off. Well, I was missing one of those pins, and I thought for sure that it would just stay on there until I got down to the garage, no big deal. But what has happened is this slid off of the 3-point hitch pin there, because I didn't secure it like an idiot. So now I really can't I can't take it off because I've got too much tension here on the chain, and I can't get that arm off because it's already extended out as far as it goes, and I can't take the loader and pick it up because it's attached to the loader tractor. So I think I'm going to try to jack this up. Hopefully somehow I've got the floor jack. This is not super heavy, at least for the floor jack, but I should be able to jack it up, put it under some blocks, and maybe get that on there like it's supposed to be. But yeah, that's how today's going. Try to save a couple minutes, I guess, instead of going back down to the garage and getting one of those latching pins like I should have. Yeah, that 2 minutes I tried to save is going to turn into probably an hour or two of trying to get this fixed. So this is the kind of configuration I've got going on here. I've got the jack, lifting it up, and I've got the tunnel on here, trying to pull it back. So I've been pulling it back a little bit, let the jack down, reset the jack, and just rinse and repeat. It's going to take a minute to do this, but hopefully we'll be pulling that front end back so I can maybe get that other lift arm lined up where it should be. So that's the way it's supposed to look. After a little finessing, it actually wasn't too bad at all. The jack started sliding on and rolling on the ground. I just didn't think it would do that since it wasn't on concrete or something, but it did, and that made the process much easier. more better. Alright, let's see what else we can tear up today. On another note, the 6210 has sprung a leak, hydraulic leak as well. Yay! I believe it's coming from that line that we replaced last week. I don't know. I thought it might have been leaking then, but I tightened it up and it looked good. So I want to take the step back off and look at that. But it's not leaking bad enough to worry about today. All right, this is a water wheel transplanter. It's a homemade one. I bought it off a guy who made it. I got it really cheap, so that's the reason we bought it. I give like 500 bucks for it. So, you know, a new one of these is like probably about $2,600, maybe more. And it effectively does the same thing. So water wheels are really simple. I mean, the main part of it is this wheel here, the water wheel itself. So this spins around. It'll take those spikes will punch holes in the plastic and dirt, and you ride back here in these seats, and you just take the, you know, we'll put plants here, pick the plant up, push it in the ground, and that is it. We'll put water in this tank, and the water just runs down this hose inside the wheel, and the water will trickle out in the holes that it punches in the plastic as it goes down the field. Hence, water wheel. Yeah, so they're very simple. You know, this machine will work just as good as a $2,600 machine, or however much they, you know, cost. We can't justify having one for as little amount of acres that we do, just like the mulch layer. Are there better mulch layers out there? Absolutely. They even have some that auto track, so you make sure you have straight rows, and it actually move the machine as you're pulling it through the field to make sure your rows are straight. Ours are not so straight. Even though I drove straight, it's still the machine wants to move a little bit. But for what we do, it works for what we do. We try to get by as, you know, relatively cheap as possible. And so what I am going to do, that water wheel that's in there is set up for 24-inch spacing, and we want it set up for 18-inch spacing, like this wheel back here. This is just a spare wheel that we have, so there will be one blank in between each of these fingers. They're actually, when I say that, and I can't do it now. Yeah, so these come out relatively easy. This is the only channel locks I could find, the biggest pair I've got, but actually kind of need a big pair. But you'll just put that over there like that, squeeze that together, and out it comes. And I'm going to need some of these guys off of there because I cannot find where I put all my other parts for this for some reason. But these here, you just take a screwdriver and put underneath of it a little bit, and they'll pop right out too. So pretty simple, pretty simple. But once we get that changed out, fill it up with some water, and hopefully we'll go plant some tomatoes. I'm waiting on some help. Sean may be coming. Yesterday I told him when we were going to work today because I thought it was going to rain, and he made other plans, but he told me he might be able to come out this afternoon. The girls went prom dress shopping because prom's coming up pretty soon, but they said they would help when they get back. So it may rain before then. I do not know, but we're going to give it our best shot and try to get something done anyway. So you can see, I got my helper here. His name is Piggy. Piggy, come here. Come here, Piggy. Come here. Come here. He accidentally got misplaced when I was doing some cleaning all that brush and stuff out. Knocked over a tree, and well, he was just a little bitty baby, so I decided to take care of him. So he's kind of a pet for now until he gets bigger. Come on, Biggie, you're holding us up. We got work to do. Come on. Alright, Alright, so we got the water tank filled up, got the plants on the transplanter. Now we're just waiting for the girls to get back. I don't know if I went over the varieties that we've got here, but these are mountain fresh tomatoes, so they're a little bit of a, I think, let's see what day variety they are. They're a 79-day variety. The rest of our varieties are, I think, 80 or something like that. So this will give us a little bit of a head start. So 79 days from now, should have tomatoes once we plant them in the ground, right? Also, we've got some Roma tomatoes. Romas are just like a canning type tomato, like they look like a plum or type tomato. So they're canning. We're going to plant a row of those for people who want to can. We got some onions. We've got white onions. We've got sweet onions. We've got red onions. So we got a bunch of different types of onions. We got red potatoes that we're going to plant, and then cabbage. And then we've got 3 different types of cabbage. We've got, what is this one? No Bravo. So we've got Golden Acre, Bravo, and Late Flat Dutch. That's the name of that. We grow a lot of Bravo, but these, again, they kind of have different maturity dates. One's like a 60, one's an 80, one's 100 days. So we can plant them all at one time, and they're all not going to be ready at one time. So we sell a fair bit of cabbage, but we don't want to have too much to where we're not being able to sell it. So this year I think I got like maybe 50 plants, no, like 75 plants. That'll get us enough to get started, and then later on we'll just space it out with Bravo, because we really like that cabbage. It's done really well for in the past, and it's got a good taste. So while I'm waiting on help, I'm going to go ahead and hook up the spray. We'll put some water in it so I can take it back to Kentucky, and then it'll be ready to go and spray when we ever choose to spray over there. Gotta love backup cameras. So I brought the spray back over to the farm in Kentucky, and I came out here and just to do a little scouting. I didn't think the corn would be up yet. I mean, because it's only been in the ground maybe a week. But surprisingly enough, I'll have to turn you, well, we'll come back here. But this corn's only been planted a week, and surprisingly enough, it's already germinated. So you can see right here, I just dug him up. He's starting to root and starting to shoot. So these guys will actually be out of the ground in a very short amount of time. I'd say within the next 2 to 3 days, it'll start poking through the soil, especially if we get this rain that they're calling. There we go. Now we finally found one. Yep. Looking to be the same. So, I mean, should be a couple days. Should be a couple days this week we're going to be out of the ground, which oddly enough will only put it about a week behind last year. I was looking at some pictures on Facebook and Instagram, and I believe I had a memory, it was like from a week ago, that the corn had just sprouted that we had planted in early April. So hopefully, you know, this will catch up, and this being an earlier corn than what we planted last year, we might be right on the same timetable, which would be good. So on another quick note, some people may wonder why we don't no-till. And one of the reasons that we don't no-till is kind of for that reason that I was just showing you. And our soil type, and just in my experience, that when you till the soil, it warms up a little sooner, and the corn gets out of the ground faster. Now, when you're doing conventional corn and, you know, for grain and stuff like that, you know, that might not be as big of a deal if it sets in there, you know, another week before it germinates or whatever. But for sweet corn, you know, we're trying to get that sweet corn to market as early as possible. So we want to get it out of the ground as soon as possible so we can, you know, try to have sweet corn around that 4th of July weekend is what we usually strive for. So we still may hit that, you know, given that it's already germinated and it's going to be out of the ground in the next few days. And that is an earlier corn. I believe it's a 69-day corn, so that should definitely help things out, and we should be able to go ahead and have some for market when we want to, as opposed to waiting a few extra weeks. So before I head back home, the girls are finally back home. I believe Marquita is going to help me plant the tomatoes, what little bit of tomatoes we got, and cabbage and stuff. The girls have other plans, as teenage girls normally do. But before I head home, I got to swing by Tractor Supply and get Piggy some formula. So apparently he is out of formula. So got to do that. Got to feed the Pigmeister. So we got all the tomatoes, cabbage, onions, and potatoes planted. So I think we're about done for the day. And it's about 7 o'clock, so maybe go take a quick shower and go grab a bite to eat. But we appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed the footage. Please like it and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.